Peace to sing. Come and see.
Up and over the top, the music of the Mustang. That sound that you're hearing is not so much the air underneath the engine, but rather the air going through the 50 caliber Browning machine gun ports on the wings. They're set back just a little bit, and like the musical flute, they create music all of their own. Let's watch and listen as Mark Peterson approaches in the mighty World War II P-51 Mustang. The P-51 today, nicknamed Diamondback, has a unique and rich history. Serving with the U.S. Army Air Corps and later the United States Air Force, it later went on to race at Reno at the National Championship Air Races, and today, under the skillful hands of Mark Peterson, flies at air shows across the country. This year, we commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day and the notable invasion of France, and remember those who lost their lives to defend our freedoms so many years ago. Completing his maneuver high and to our right. Coming in now for the beautiful barrel roll, flying in at over 300 miles an hour. As the bombers of the 8th Air Force fought their way deep into Hitler's German heartland, it was the P-51 that cleared the skies of the Luftwaffe. No other combat aircraft could fly as high, go as far, or fight as hard as the mighty P-51. It quickly established its dominance in the skies over Germany, notably against the Luftwaffe's Me-109 and Focke-Wulf FW-190 fighters. Its air superiority was evident, and by March of 1944, the Mustang was an essential component to the overall battle space. The pilot for today's display, Mark Peterson of Boise, Idaho, soloing his first airplane at only 17 years old, and has since flown more than 35 different kinds of aircraft and has accumulated more than 5,000 hours of flight time. Owning and flying a P-51 has been a dream of Mark's ever since he was a young boy, and he says you never quite just own a Mustang or any warbird in that manner. You are just lucky enough to be the steward of this great piece of history. Pulling up now for the 4-point hesitation roll. Mark is going to climb high and to our left in Diamondback as he approaches once again for a great photo opportunity, so be sure to get your cameras ready to capture this impressive fighter from World War II. the North American Mustang. From the drawing boards to a full flying prototype in just 117 days, this aircraft is considered by so many to be the premier fighter of World War II, completing the minimum radius turn, showcasing to you how tightly the P-51 can turn in aerial combat. If you look very closely under the airplane, you will see a large air scoop. And what that scoop does is cool the radiator and oil cooler. It is a very important part of the Mustang. And if you took damage to it, you wouldn't fly for much longer as you'd overheat and seize the engine. The enemy knew that. What is so unique about that air scoop is that that technology was later found to produce some additional thrust, and that technology is still used today on the intake of the F-16 Fighting Falcon. Ladies and gentlemen, from the left, please put your hands together for Mark Peterson and the mighty P-51. We do not fly these aircraft to glorify war, but we do it to remember the sacrifices made by so many and to tell the stories of our veterans. And in this great salute, I hope you will join me in a round of applause for all the veterans in attendance today at Aviation Nation. We thank you for your service to our country. This year, as I mentioned, marks the 75th anniversary of D-Day, the invasion of Normandy and the largest combined amphibious and air assault in history. Taking place on the morning of June 6, 1944, D-Day was considered to be the beginning to the end of World War II, and it was the airplanes like the North American Mustang that helped win the war. More than 2 million Americans went on to serve in Europe, and after the nation's entrance into the war in December of 1941, more than 500,000 perished. Today, only a handful of our World War II veterans are still among us, and may we never forget the sacrifices made by those brave men and women, friends and family, sons and daughters, who've helped preserve our freedoms that we know of them today.